Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Battle Stadium singles video here on iStarly TV. This is part of my Road to Master series where I try to climb the online Battle Stadium singles ladder. Today we have yet another team from the Smogon forums, which is a place that I frequent just looking for kind of fun and unique teams. You know, people sharing team codes, since I do love building teams in this game, but, you know, it definitely takes its toll. You know, the whole time aspect is not a big deal to me, like money. I have a lot of money in this game, so I can just buy a lot of the vitamins to EV train, so that's not really the thing, but more like the Terra Shards. The Terra Shards are the one thing that you definitely run out of very quickly, and it's hard to get more in a very quick manner. Anyways, with that being said, let's get to the team. This is an online team. To be quite honest, I'm sorry, I forgot the exact username of the person who made the team. I will be posting though a link to their post in the description, so you can take a look at their what they said about the team, as well as a Poke Paste there. So feel free to check that out. And what we have here is just a pretty standard team. I think they said in their post that it's a hyper offense team, which is more their playstyle. Honestly, I think that's more my playstyle as well. And if I'm being quite honest, I really like the Pokemon on this team a lot. And the EV spreads are pretty straightforward. They're all pretty simple. They're all 252 in 2 stats. So, you know, you look at the team here and there's a lot of Pokemon that you just are not surprised by, right? Baxcalibur is one of the best Pokemon. Well, Baxcalibur and Flutter are just 2 of the best Pokemon in the meta. They're both in the top 4 in usage. I think at this point, right now, I think they're actually both in the top 3, which is awesome. And unsurprisingly, they're just great. Iron Moth is amazing. Kingambit's amazing. Rotom has been rising in usage. It's also very good. And then Iron Hands is a Pokemon that is really powerful. You don't see it that often, but I haven't used it yet either. So this is my first time using Iron Hands, and I'm really excited to do that. So usually I feel like when you see Iron Hands, you see it with Assault Vest, but we do have the Kingambit with the Assault Vest here. So unfortunately, Iron Hands is not going to be as bulky, but it does have the Punching Glove, which will boost the power of all of its moves. So let's get right to it. Like I said, I haven't really used Iron Hands before, but all these other Pokemon I've definitely used more than once, absolutely. Some of them more than 10 times probably, but let's get to the games. Of course, we're starting with some pretty standard Pokemon. I was going to say pretty annoying, but I kind of always say that, so let's see what we've got here. My opponent's team has Dondozo, which I struggle against a lot. I mean, it's definitely a beatable Pokemon. I think right off the bat, I think I like Flutter a lot here. We are Terra Fairy though, which means we're not gonna have an easy time against Pokemon like Mimikyu and stuff, but Flutter is fantastic. I mean, just being able to outspeed just about everything and hit them really hard is great, but they do have a few Pokemon that in general don't want to take a hit from Flutter but they have something about them that makes them still good against Flutter like Bundle is faster, Dragonite has Multiscale, and Mimikyu has Shadow Sneak and also Disguise, so yeah, that's kind of scary there. I think Baxcalibur is great as well though. I forgot the Terra type, let me double check that. I think it's Ground, which means we can't really hit Dondozo really hard. So I kind of think I want to bring, oh, it's Moonball, that's pretty cool. I kind of want to bring, actually Rotom is great here as well. Sorry, I'm running out of time. I was going to check the Terra types. I know Rotom is, you know, pretty standard. I kind of just want to bring this. I think this actually looks pretty good against a lot of their Pokemon. And honestly, this has a decent matchup against everything. And then I also like Rotom in the back. And then finally, we're running out of time. I'm just going to bring Flutter because, as I said in the very beginning, it looks like it has a good matchup against everything on their team. You know, barring a few specific cases, which... You know, it's funny because everything on my opponent's team doesn't want to take too much damage from Flutter but at the same time, they all have something about them that can help them handle Flutter So like, all their Pokemon are good and bad against Flutter My opponent leads with Dondozo, which of course is going to be weak to my electric type moves. Now, I do think Dondozo typically has Terra Grass, so that's something I should be aware of, and then they probably also will have Earthquake here. So if they go Terra Grass Earthquake, that's a worst case scenario for me. I think I'm just safe to go into Rotom here because I can hit them really hard and I can take an Earthquake if they go for it. Plus, I should be able to resist anything that Dondozo would go for. It really sucks to take damage on Rotom super early here, but you know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I think that just my safest play here so I don't lose Iron Hands right away is just kind of switching into Rotom here. And luckily for me, my opponent does go for Protect. So now I want to look at their team. I kind of want to go for Trick. I'm going to Trick here, see what happens. If they stay in, they do withdraw. I guess that's a little obvious. If they go into Iron Bundle, that's a worst case scenario for me. Because Iron Bundle does typically run Specs, and they would enjoy... Oh, and this thing too, actually. But we might take an Assault Vest from them, which I wouldn't mind. So they got my choice Specs. Oh god, okay. I think I'm locked into Trick now. Wow, that's so bad for me. Alright, so this turn, this first sequence for me has been just really, really bad for me. And to be honest, that's my fault. I played pretty poorly there. I don't know if you'd say I played poorly. Obviously, I made choices that were really bad for myself in the end. But I feel like there was enough reasoning behind each of them. I think the Trick was the more dumb play on my part, though, because I think it's kind of obvious. And, like, Dondozo just doesn't want to stay in against a Rotom anyway. So they go Volt Switch. We're going to resist that. We know with their Dondozo, either they are not Terra Grass at all, or they're trying to preserve their Terra. So if they go back into Dondozo, I actually might just Drain Punch, because it's just guaranteed damage against them. Although they also likely have Rocky Helmet, so we gained some information there. They do go into Mimikyu, which is actually pretty interesting. I actually wonder... You know what? I actually think we might Terrastalize here. That's not amazing, though, because we're probably still going to take a lot of damage from Play Rough. And even their Ghost-type moves, so... But if they go Play Rough here... Yeah, actually, I don't think we can afford to Terrastalize. Well, if we Terrastalize, we probably survive a Play Rough. I'm going to. I'm going to Terra and then go for... It's Thunder Punch. I was thinking Ice Punch with the chance to freeze them, but Thunder Punch has the chance to flint or paralyze them. I'm only doing this so I think I should survive a Play Rough. If I don't, though, then that's awful. Basically, if I survive and paralyze them, then that's just the best case scenario for me. But we're gonna see what happens, because yeah, like I was just about to say, they're probably just gonna go for Swords Dance here. So if we don't paralyze them, we're just in a really rough spot. But we do have the Flutter Mane in the back with a Focus Sash, so... And Flutter Mane can actually do some pretty good work against their team in general. So I'm just gonna Thunder Punch again. I'm pretty sure they're just gonna Play Rough or Shadow Sneak, whichever they have. Oh, they missed the Play Rough. That's fantastic. I feel like if they had Shadow Claw, that's probably what they would have wanted to go for, though, because it just can't miss. But that is a huge moment of the battle, and that turns things around significantly, because now we're really, really far ahead, I would say. Whereas before we were kind of, you know, we were behind, but we still had a chance. Like, my expectation was that they would kill me there, and then I would go into Flutter Mane, take a hit from them, knock them out, and then Flutter Mane's decent against their last two Pokemon, but they're just going to go right into Magnezone here, and I think I go for Drain Punch, though it is obvious. Although I think Magnezone typically goes like Terra Water? I could be wrong on that, actually. I'm just gonna Drain Punch. It's probably not likely that they're Terra Ghost. And I am an Electric type, which means I resist their Electric and their Steel type stab, which is awesome. I guess they could be possibly like Terra Ground. And have like Terra Blast, which would be great against me, but I feel like I'm in a pretty good position here, especially if their Dondozo does not have Terra Grass. They Thunderbolt, which actually does a decent damage, but thanks to the Drain Punch, I'm just going to recover all of that back, which is just perfect. And then I think I just go Drain Punch again just to get more recovery. And if we knock out their Magnezone here, I kind of feel like, yeah, I was going to say, if we knock out their Magnezone, I kind of feel like the game's just ours, because we have 3 Pokemon against Dondozo, and yeah, that's just great for us. So game 1 just turns out really well, and it really shows Iron Hand's power. It's a really bulky Pokemon that hits really, really hard. So, you know, it's a Pokemon that I've seen a lot, and every time I run into it, I'm kind of scared of it, but I've just never gotten around to using it myself. So good stuff. And that is going to actually get me to Master Ball rank. I hadn't actually played since my last video, so I do have a positive record. It's not like I've been playing this whole time and barely got to Masters, but it has taken me a little bit of a time here to get to Master Ball rank. But awesomely, I do get to Master Ball with that game, so there we go. All right. Once again, we've got a bunch of threats. Just got to assess them correctly. I really like Sash Flutter main though, because I feel like the Focus Sash just gives it that longevity, gives it that chance of like taking on Pokemon that, you know, maybe otherwise would be good against it. However, one Pokemon that is fantastic against Focus Sashes in general is Baxcalibur, which my opponent does have. I do have it too though. My opponent has 3 of the same Pokemon as me, so the meta is pretty stale. No, I'm just kidding. I think I like Iron Hands again. It just matches up decently. Like, I just imagine it just takes hits against almost everything. And yes, they do have Baxcalibur, which typically will have Earthquake. So that's one thing I need to be wary of. And of course, they do also have Garchomp, but I kind of like Rotom there as well. These two Pokemon feel like they complement each other decently well. I like Rotom. I like Iron Hands. One last Pokemon that I am afraid of is the Annihilate. So what do we like in that case? Maybe Flutter main? I think the most common Terra type on Annihilate these days is actually Fire, which prevents it from being burned and also takes away that Fairy type weakness. Oh, I need to make a decision. I'm gonna lead Moth, and I honestly just didn't really honestly mean to do that. Moth is better against Annihilate, and well, I don't even know if it's better. I think Moth and Fluttermane are both, like, they both are good and bad against Baxcalibur and Annihilate. By the way, I updated my trainer card, as you can see there. So I had actually 2 of these shiny Tatsugiri forms. Tatsugiri is like one of my favorite Pokemon from this new generation. And I was able to shiny hunt and catch the 3rd shiny form this past week. So they lead Annihilate, which honestly, sometimes what lead Annihilate does is actually Final Gambit. But honestly, the main reason I brought my Iron Moth was for Annihilate. So in that case, I'm actually just going to go ahead and just stay in here. Another thing that lead Annihilate might do is like Fling or Stealth Rock, but usually lead Annihilate doesn't typically, what am I trying to say? Terrastalize. So I was actually feeling pretty confident that a Dazzling Gleam would knock it out, and I was correct. So gonna go for the Fire Dance. No, never mind. I was gonna say I should still be faster, but actually Annihilate is decently fast. So with a -1 speed on Iron Moth, that is gonna outspeed me. However, I've taken this Annihilate down to where just one more hit from just about anything will knock it out. Actually, everyone, I am not loving this. Oh, this is actually timid though. So if they don't have speed investment, this is good for me. I do think I'm gonna go ahead and Terrastalize now though, which I might regret. Let's see what their team's looking like. Again, of course, they do have that Garchomp. Okay, well, I think I know what I do here. I Terrastalize and go Terra Blast, because if they switch in Garchomp, that's great. If they stay in, you know, they're likely going to get knocked out. Although, again, if they're max speed Jolly, they will be faster than me, which is definitely not good. We should live a hit though, but we're going to take a lot of damage that we don't want to be taking. They are faster. Okay. So interesting lead choice. I mean, Annihilate is just one of the yeah, we take so much damage there. We take admittedly just too much damage. But anyways, one of the reasons why Annihilate is so good is just because it's so versatile. Like, its stats are just really well rounded. It's not like any of its stats are just like insanely high, but it has a good mix of solid stats, and with its offensive and defensive typing and its pretty great move pool, like it has a good offensive and even support based move pool. There's so much that it can do, so that's why it's kind of a scary Pokemon, because when I see it on the opposing team, you can't really always be sure what it's going to do exactly. So yeah, that ended up being a really scary Annihilate. If we were bulky Rotom Wash, which is, I think, at least it used to be the most common Rotom Wash set, then obviously we would have taken that hit better. They do go into Chomp though, which is really interesting to me, because typically we are immune to both of their stab moves, so they probably have like a steel move here. The thing is, all right, we're gonna make a really weird play here. I'm gonna go into Iron Hands here. The reasoning for this is if they have like Iron Head and they're like choiced, then we lock, well, yeah, then we lock them into Iron Head here. That's like kind of my only hope, because otherwise if we stay in and they're not choice and they go Iron Head against Rotom, Rotom is dead. We go into Iron Hands, and if they're not choice, they have Earthquake and they win the game. So honestly, we're probably still losing this game, but at least this gives us some kind of a chance. So if they are choice, they're probably going to switch here, which means I think I just want to go Drain Punch here. Because the only Pokemon that would resist it... Oh, that's actually fantastic for us. Okay, if this kills a Pokemon, we're just gonna be in amazing shape. Oh, I don't think it's gonna knock him out. It does take them... I think that's Sturdy. Wow, that's so good for us. So now, unless they're like Terra Ground with Terra Blast, this is just putting us in such a fantastic position. I'm gonna Ice Punch here just in case they switch back into Garchomp. Oh, okay, so I kind of don't see a reason to not do this here, right? Because, yeah, okay, wow. I am on cloud 9. Oh my god, we outpredicted them. Sorry, sometimes I get crazy plays like that, but sometimes I don't. So like, I'm just kind of like feeling the high there. So I went for Ice Punch there just because I thought to myself, you know, if I hit them with literally any move, their Magnezone is dead, right? No matter what I go for, their Magnezone gets knocked out here. And so I thought to myself, okay, the Drain Punch is pretty obvious. And, you know, they might go into Chomp because they're going to be faster than me. They know they can take a Drain Punch and then they can just knock me out with, like, I don't know, another move or something. But at that point, yeah, ooh, I'm so happy with that. That, like, you know, I don't feel like I typically make crazy, you know, outplays like that. So I'm kind of, like, proud of that one. And, you know, the play with the Rotom there where I switched into Iron Hands against their Garchomp, like I explained, like, had I not done that, I probably would have lost the game. So it felt like we were in a really, really losing position, and I just kind of moved into the only position where I could possibly win the game, and it did pay off really, really well. So that was a fun one, and this team is really making me fall in love with Iron Hands. That sounds really weird, but I've never used Iron Hands, and like I said here, it combos really well with Rotom. Anyways, let's go to another game here. This is so much fun. Interesting team here. You know, you see a Pokemon like Leafeon. I'm not gonna lie, when I see a Pokemon like Leafeon that's like never used, I in the back of my mind I start feeling like, oh, this is gonna be easy. But you know, you never want to underestimate, because I've lost to some some really obnoxious, like, never used Pokemon. So just because they have Leafeon doesn't really mean anything. They do have Glimmora, which is a Pokemon that I often don't like to play against as well, because it usually has like Sash. That's another Pokemon that you know, even though its stats are pretty, like, you know, concentrated on certain stats, if that makes any sense, it still has a lot of different things it can do. Anyways, I think I like Rotom here again, although they have a few Pokemon that are faster and that are going to hit really hard, so I'm actually not certain I like Rotom though. But one big thing Rotom has going for it is that it can resist or is immune to a lot of common moves from Baxcalibur and even Kingambit, so that might be enough of a reason to bring it. I do like Moth here as well, although I'm not sure I want to lead it. I kind of do though. I'm going to lead Moth. And then, do we just go these three again? Well, it's likely they're going to lead Glimmora, right? So actually Moth is not a great... All right, well, you know what? I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to bring the same old three. I mean, for what it's worth, these are Pokemon, at least Rotom and Iron Hands, these are Pokemon that I don't use that often. I have used Rotom a lot, but I feel like I use Iron Moth almost every video. I use Flutter Mane almost every video, you know, so obviously this gives me the ability to try new things. So let's see how this one goes. That Granny is getting down. The Cloud Watcher, Flutter Mane, interesting. Okay, typically Iron Moth has a solid matchup against Flutter Mane because I do have good special defense and I resist a lot of their more common moves. So this is a pretty good matchup for me turn one. One move that I'm afraid of is Power Gem or Psyshock, which if they have those, they might just knock us out, to be honest. What do I do in that case? But I also can't really switch here. I could Terrastalize, but that removes the ability for Rotom to Terrastalize, which might be a big deal. The thing is, if I Terrastalize and then survive a hit, then that's fantastic for me. But then I'm weaker to their moves next turn. This is actually a really tough situation. I think I'm just going to Sludge Wave them, but again, the question is, do I want to Terrastalize? Well, if I'm going to Sludge Wave, I might... It's also possible I might want to... Okay, I'm going to Terra and Sludge Wave. I was going to say it's also possible I might want to Energy Ball, but I think this is fine because Sludge Wave does a tiny bit more damage and it has a chance to poison them, so we just have a chance to knock them out here. They do Terrasilize, so actually that is amazing that I did not go for the Terra Grass. They're Terra Fire, so they made a good prediction there, expecting me to go Fiery Dance. I wonder if they're calling my... If my opponent calls my bluff here and goes for the Fire move, like, honestly, kudos to them. Honestly, they deserve the knockout here. Because Terra Grass is the most common Terra type on Iron Moth, so it might have been obvious that I was going to do that. They go Calm Mind. Oh, wow, okay. That is not something that I like to see. That's actually scary. Calm Mind, I feel like, is something that's a little unexplored on Flutter main, and I do like seeing it. Oh, wow, that does nothing. We can't really stay in, but at the same time... I can't let them set up Calm Minds. I'm going to Sludge Wave again, thinking that they might Calm Mind again. They go Draining Kiss. So they actually might not have a Fire type move, but this is still really bad for me because they're just going to get to recover their health. Ugh. This is actually a really bad situation, honestly. I might lose to this this Calm Mind Flutter main. I mean, I kind of feel like I can't do anything except Sludge Wave. So they have Calm Mind, they have Draining Kiss. They have Shadow Ball, unsurprisingly. I should live this? Well, you actually never mind. Okay, yeah, so I'm dead next turn. I hope I can get some poison on them. It does good damage there. So Draining Kiss is not going to recover that much health. If they Calm Mind, there's a chance they get knocked out here, so they have to actually attack me. And they're at +1 special attack. Depending on what their EVs are, this could be pretty bad for me. I think I have to go into Rotom, and I think I'm just going to go Volt. The thing is, if they Draining Kiss and do a lot of damage to me, Volt Switch might not knock them out, and if Volt Switch does not knock them out, I lose the game. So it seems like a weird play since they're so low. I'm just going to Hydro Pump. I should live one hit. Yeah, they're Draining Kiss. Okay, I am Choice Specs. If I miss, honestly, that might be GG. I'm already so far behind because I lost 1.5 Pokemon to this. Okay, cool. We do knock them out. Oh, I'm not certain we knock them out, but we do knock them out. We get a crit. I don't think that mattered. I'm Choice Specs with the water move against a super effective water move against them. I do not think that mattered. So we are behind right now. Luckily for me, they did burn their Terra, although so did we. So we can't be a Fairy type anymore. They go Kingambit, which is definitely good for them. But Iron Hands' amazing typing lets me resist both of Kingambit's stab moves. Now, there was another opportunity for me to stay in and go Trick there, because I should be faster. Actually, maybe that was the play, because I am faster than them, very likely, and... Okay, they can't Terra, though, so I get to Drain Punch. This is perfect. And I don't think they have any other Ghost types on their team aside from Flutter main, so whatever they switch into should take a good chunk of damage, unless I'm forgetting someone. I think they have Moth themselves, though. Oh, yeah. Okay, they do have another... Of course they do. I forgot about this. That's on me. This thing is scary, though, because, of course, they can just start setting up. I think I have to switch. No, I'm going to Thunder Punch. I should do a lot of... Oh, well, duh. They're faster than me, of course. That was dumb. Honestly, I think Rage Fist just wins them the game. I don't think it would have mattered if I had tricked the Kingambit. They're probably gonna like Rage Fist here, which means I probably don't want to switch into Rotom. I think I need to just stay in and just try to get as much damage on them as possible. Maybe get a Para or something. Because I can't... If I switch and they... Yeah, see, they did attack. So if I had switched into Rotom, we might have died there. So I think this was good of me to just stay in. If we can never paralyze them, that's great. Although, of course, you can't really rely on hacks or anything like that. We do not paralyze them. I think this is where I'm going to switch. But even tricking them at Choice Specs isn't great. If they hit us with one more move, we're dead. So they're probably just going to Drain Punch. I think we lose here. Yeah, they Drain Punch. Oh, we survive. Okay. All right. The only hope is paralyzing it. Nope. Okay. I mean... Yeah, there's absolutely no way that we switch, because they're gonna Drain Punch. If they bulk up here, they just run the risk of me paralyzing them, so that's really bad on their part. So there's no reason for them to do that. So they knock me out, and my only hope here is for Rotom to come in. And I think this is a losing battle. I come in, I go Hydro Pump because there's really nothing else I can do. I can't Terra. If I trick them, I should be... Actually, you know what? If they're max speed... Well, they might not be max speed if they're bulk up. If I'm faster than them, I trick them, they go Drain Punch and I'm dead, right? It doesn't matter if I trick them. If I Hydro Pump and knock them out, they go into Kingambit and they're probably killing me, but this is my only hope. Of course, I was going to say, a lot of things could go wrong here. I could miss here. I could go Hydro Pump and not knock them out. Yeah, there's a lot of ways that was going to go wrong, but... good games. Yeah, I mean, as I said before, you know, Annihilate, I think it's interesting there that we see two different variants of Annihilate in these battles. The first one was like an offensive, like, kind of lead, kind of disruptor Annihilate. This one was a pretty traditional one, which was bulk up and stuff like that. I like Annihilate. I think it's a fun Pokemon, and again, with that versatility, you know, it's a threat. It's a real threat in the meta. So, you know, I'm not upset about losing that one. I feel like I was backed into a corner early, and I tried my best to make the plays that would help me win that game, and it just didn't work out in the end. I do think my opponent probably played better than I did. Let's think back to that turn with Kingambit. If I had tricked the Kingambit, I don't think anything changes. The one thing that does change is we'd get to Volt Switch on the Annihilate just to get off a little bit of damage, which might have helped with the Iron Hands, but yeah, that might have helped. And then, I mean, really, like I kept saying, what we needed there was the paralysis, which again, you can't expect you can't like hope for something like that, because, you know, it's hacks, right? Like, I think it's a 10% chance with Thunder Punch, or maybe 20. I can't remember. But anyways, let's go ahead and do one more here. This team's great. Wow. Really cool team. I like this team a lot. So they have Zoroark, which is actually pretty funny because, you know, they have two Pokemon that are actually pretty good with Zoroark, Fluttermane and Muck, because those two Pokemon actually complement Zoroark's weaknesses really well. So if we see a Fluttermane, we're going to want to go for like a ghost type move, right? And if we go for the ghost type move, then Zoroark resists that. So like, yeah, and then they of course have Espathra, they have Orthworm and Staraptor. They have a lot of Pokemon you don't normally see. And of course the scary thing about that is I don't know what they're going to do. I feel like it's pretty likely they're going to have Baton Pass, so that's something we have to keep in mind. They probably have Shed Tail with their Orthworm. I think I want to lead Moth, although there's a chance they lead Espathra, in which case I just definitely don't want to do that. Maybe I lead Kingambit. Thing is, if they lead Orthworm, they're going to have like Shed Tail, which I really don't like. Could lead Flutter. Huh. Iron Hands actually also looks really good here. Rotom is okay as well, but not quite as good. Definitely need to step it up though. I don't know if leading Kingambit is a mistake, because Kingambit's a great Pokemon. One of the big benefits of playing Kingambit is its typing. Like its typing resists a lot of common Pokemon, and it's really good at taking hits. So typically I feel like you want to switch it in kind of later in the battle, but we'll see how this goes. Should be interesting here. Oh, nice. I love this background. Staraptor, which might not be Staraptor. Do they have Intimidate? Okay, they're Reckless. That's actually scary. They might, if they close combat, that's awful for me. How important is Kingambit here? I'm gonna Sucker Punch. They could be Zoroark. Okay, they're not. That does a lot of damage. We might die here though. Yeah, we're dead. But like I said, I mean, I don't think I wanted to switch anything in there. So now we get to go into Iron Moth. If they are Choice Scarfed, that means they're locked into close combat, which we resist. If they're not Choice Scarfed, we're faster than them. So I kind of like this play here, just going into Moth. Plus, if I had gone into Iron Bundle, they'd be faster and they'd get to get off a good amount of damage with close combat beforehand. So yeah, this is just my best sequence here. And then I think I can just go for Fire Dance really safely. They actually just do not have a single switch into that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and Fiery Dance. If they're Scarfed, like I said, we'll resist close combat and knock them out. If they switch, they don't have a resist to this, so that's perfect. And if they go into Flutter main, I'm actually not so scared because we'd get a little bit of damage on it ahead of time. So there we go. Again, one Pokemon we have to be worried about is going to be that Staraptor in the back. But for right now, that does a lot of damage, by the way. It's the same situation as last game where I decide whether I want to Terrasilize off of the possibility that they have Psychic. Honestly, I'm not going to Terrasilize. I'm going to save the possibility they do have Psyshock. Oh god, I might die here. Oh, that's oh god. Well, there you go. There you have it, everyone. So I should have done it. I should have done it once again. The big reason I didn't was because I wanted to leave the possibility that we can Terrasilize with Iron Hands, which we still get to do, and I still get to go ahead and do this and remove the Psychic and Fairy weaknesses here. So we might be able to live. Well, I'm pretty sure we're gonna live here, but we're gonna take damage, and that's a big problem given that once again, one of the Pokemon that they have in the back is Staraptor, who's gonna be faster than us. So, I mean, there's nothing else I can do though. I have to go for this. They withdraw. Interesting. Okay, well we know they have that in the back. Wow. Okay, so that removes one threat. I think that might mean that their choice with their Flutter main, but at the same time, I mean, I guess they were expecting me to Terrasilize, right? It's kind of weird. But I'll take it. Hey, I'll take it. You know, I feel like their play was just stay in, hit me with a move, die, and then go back into Staraptor to get more damage on Iron Hands, and then they have a Pokemon in the back to probably take on Iron Hands, but I mean, we'll see, you know? I feel like that just makes it a little more likely that we win this game. I still feel like I'm far enough behind that we probably won't win. If they have any ground type move. Okay, I wonder which Pokemon this one is. We definitely dealt damage to their Flutter main, right? All right, I'm gonna Drain Punch. The obvious Zoroark they knock off. What? What is going on? That is weird. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm speechless. I think there's a chance we win now. I don't want to get my hopes up. Knock off on the Iron Hands when Zoroark. Actually, I mean, I don't think Zoroark's attack stat is awful. I don't think it's good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's awful. So, I guess that makes some amount of sense. But now we click Thunder Punch. You know, if they win, okay, sure, GG. At least we had a chance here. But we might live. So close. Yes. Wow. Okay, that felt like a game we should not have won. But we did. We stole that one. GG to my opponent. You know, Zoroark's awesome. And Staraptor. Personally, I love Staraptor, and I really... One kind of secret weapon that I had for the longest time in like Gen 6 and 7 was like Choice Banded, Adamant, Reckless Staraptor, just spamming Brave Bird until it dies, and like nothing could take hits from it. Like even Pokemon that resisted it would take like would get 2 hit to. Even Pokemon that resisted it would get 2 hit KO'd. So fun stuff. Anyways, that was a fun one. Yeah, let's go back to the team, but that was a really funny game. All right, so there's the team again. Feel free to try it out yourself. Again, I'm posting a link to the detailed post that the person who made this team made about this team in the description. That'll have a lot of information as well as the Pokepaste. I think they used this team last season as well as this season to hit Master Ball, so it's a really good team. I do commend the person who made this team because I like it very much. Like, all these Pokemon are great. I really like these sets a lot. I didn't really get to use Baxcalibur or even Flutter main that much, but you know, I mean, it let me see how good Iron Hands was. So I'll probably be building around that in the future. But anyways, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet content. I've been having a lot of fun. I mean, I know I always say that, but it's just been such a great time with these games. And I am really excited for Season 5. I'm really excited for the next season with the new rule set with the Ruin Legend. So I'm going to start brewing around those. But I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments what other Pokemon have been working for you. Is there a secret tech Pokemon that we're not really sure about that has been working really well for you? Let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. So I'll talk to you next time.